Hi, Kimono. How are you? Can I get an audio check, please? I have a cough drop, so. I have made the very unwise decision to eat spicy food before Umineko, but it'll be fine. Eating... What is confit chicken? I've never heard of that. I hope it's yummy, though. Sounds good, I think? Okay, thank you. That is a really creaky door. Hey, Battler. Maybe you should just swim to the island. Battler-kun, you shouldn't lean over the railing too much. You might fall. Fall. Dang it! So this is why you were all grinning back there. So this is the super high-speed boat that the captain started modding. Oh yes, that piece of junk fishing boat from 6 years ago doesn't hold a candle to this guy. Rise like the phoenix and be reborn in fire, exactly. Whoa! It's shaking, it's shaking, it's shaking! Gonna fall! Ooh. Gonna fall! How am I doing? I'm doing pretty good. I'm a little behind on work today because I went to go help my grandma with some grocery shopping, but that's okay. It was fun. How about you? If I fall, I'll land in the ocean and drown! Where's the parachute? I mean, where's the buoy? Give me a life jacket! Battler, what the heck are you doing that for? Jessica-chan, Maria-chan, it's not nice to tease. Battler-kun, if you're scared, then just don't come out on the deck. I fed my cats this morning and then covered my eyes to sleep again and blinked and it was 1 p.m. Oh no. It's okay, sometimes big naps are necessary. I think you'll be able to calm down a bit if you go inside the boat. That's a no thank you, Aniki. Shipwreck victims are always the ones inside the boat. The survivors are usually those on the deck during the accident. Been emotionally tired the last 2 weeks. Oh no! I hope things get better soon. Get as much rest as you need, okay? So I'm staying right here. But it's shaking! I'm gonna fall! Whoa! Shake! Gonna fall! Maria, I told you to behave yourself. But, Battler-kun, it looks like you really can't handle it. I'll go tell the captain to slow down for you. Whoa! Head Rosa, thank you! I can tell you now that safe, slow driving is definitely the way to go, even on the sea! Don't do that, Rosa. Trials and tribulations are important for young men. Isn't that right, Battler-kun? You'd better be able to overcome a little scare like this. Otherwise, you'll never be able to go to Egypt with your aunt. Whoa! Head Eva, you're so mean! Oh no! I'm gonna fall! Life jacket! Parachute! Whoa! Wait! Gotta spin it around and think that way! What's the enemy aiming for? Is he doing this to scare me? If that's what he's aiming for, too bad! Like hell I'll be scared! But no! I'm gonna fall! What a goober. So, after I made a huge fool of myself for a while, Aunt Rosa had a talk with the boat captain, and he slowed down to a more manageable speed for me. That's a bit better. Thought I was gonna die earlier. Apparently, the max speed I can tolerate is extremely slow. But that just now was completely insane. The whole boat was shaking, sliding and leaping on the ocean's surface. It felt like I was riding on the back of a flying fish. Jessica was still guffawing at me as I leaned against the railing, tired and disheartened. I lost in that strength contest earlier, but I'm glad to know I'm no worse off where it really counts. But seriously. Dang it. Go ahead and laugh. One of these days, I'm gonna find your weakness and get back at you. And then your boobs will be mine to squish. Bro, stop. Yeah, sure. Good luck with that.
Ugh. Battler all weak.
Yeah, battler all weak. I want to die on land, not in the ocean or the sky. Maria was patting my back, so I patted her head in return. Her expression was blank as usual, but I realized that she wanted to console me. Battler-kun, the captain's throwing in drinks to make up for this. Would you like one? To calm yourself down? George Aniki and Kumasawa Ba-chan brought us all ice-cold cans of soft drinks covered with beads of water. I'm tuning in without headphones. You'll have to catch me up to date in a second when I get them. Oh yes! Don't worry about it, Gray. Judging from Kumasawa-san's big grin, our parents inside the boat were probably all rolling around laughing at my moment of pure terror. Dang it, I'm so embarrassed. I can't bear to face any of them. If I didn't change the subject somehow, I had the feeling I'd be the butt of everyone's jokes for the whole trip, so I tried to think of something harmless to talk about. Hey, Jessica, how are Uncle Kraus and Aunt Natsuhi doing? My old man and mom? Unfortunately, they're fine. No, every other word out of their mouths is study, study, which pisses me off. I'm so jealous, since it doesn't look like Uncle Hideyoshi or Uncle Rudolph would say stuff like that. Oh no. Before I had my exams, my parents kept pressing me about it over and over. I thought it was annoying then, but now I'm grateful. Ha! I knew it. You really are awesome, Aniki. Anyway, I have to look after myself. No one tells me what to do. Well, it's not like I'd listen if they did. Welcome in. Okay, so basically, Battler just made a fool of himself on the boat because it was going too fast, and he's a big whiny baby about it. That's literally all you missed. And now he's trying to change the subject so that people don't make fun of him.
Battler-san, have you still not returned to your parents' home?
Well, I kinda go back now and then. I've got lots of clothes and stuff left at the house I was living in until recently. Yeah. How are you doing, though?
Battler has 2 houses?
Something like that.
Why? Why do you have 2 houses?
Only Maria, who couldn't really grasp the situation, voiced this naive question. However, the others just shot nervous glances at me, choosing not to respond even though they knew the answer. Maria, look, you can see the harbor now. Look over there. Can you see it?
Saw the harbor! Saw the harbor!
Apparently, Jessica was trying to be nice by changing the subject. Oh well, I'd rather not talk about it if I can help it. But it's uncomfortable to have it treated like some kind of weird taboo. Trapped at work and my stuffed animal's still missing and everyone I've recruited to search hasn't found him yet. No! Is it your turtle? By the way, coffee chicken is the French way of cooking. You cover the chicken in oil after you salt cure it for 24 hours. Low and slow with garlic and herbs added to the sear that you use. Oh, sounds fancy. I'm glad to know it was good. I think we're also having chicken for dinner, but I think it's tandoori chicken. I don't mind it that much myself anymore. I may be a member of the Ushiromiya family, but the truth is that for these last 6 years, I've been living with my grandparents on my late mother's side, and I've even been using her family name. No, he's in my pocket. It's the stuffed Lotad. No, Lotad! I am manifesting you find him very soon. And I shredded it and added to the egg fried rice I made. Ooh, very nice. Chef Kimono. But yeah, I really hope you find your Lotad. No. Hold on, I'm gonna crunch my cough drop. When those grandparents passed away one after the other, I basically had no choice but to go back and live with the old man. Don't get me wrong, I didn't just run away from home or anything like that. The only one at fault here is my dad. I don't really blame Kirie-san. Being able to hold that old man's reins and ride him out is no mean feat. Me too, yeah. Keep us updated. Still, the way that old man betrayed my mom, well, unfortunately, I still haven't fully gotten over that. We'll be getting there soon. George Aniki cleared his throat, trying to change the subject. Please forgive my indiscretion. It seems this old woman has said too much already. If I've hurt your feelings... I don't mind it, and no one's feelings are hurt. Don't worry, Kumasawa-ba-chan. Kumasawa-san seemed to regret speaking out of turn, but I was more concerned about being worried over something like that. So I stood up and passed it off lightly. After that, I had a sip of my drink and headed over to Maria and Jessica, who were gazing at the silhouette of the island. We've gone from scientist grandpa to rich and maybe evil grandpa. True. And also, cheater dad.
Battler, I saw the island! Saw the island! There! Ooh.
Where is it? Oh, I see it now. Even after 6 years, the island hasn't changed a bit. He cheated? I think? I mean, he said betrayed mom, so that's what I assume. But like, I don't know. He hasn't gone into details. The small island silhouette in front of us had gotten pretty close. The island's name is Rokkenjima. It's a small island about 10 kilometers around, located in the Izu archipelago. Since they call this archipelago the Izu 7, lots of people think there are only 7 islands, but that's not true. There's actually several more, and Rokkenjima is one of the minor islands that don't get counted. I thought the grandpa betrayed the mom. No, I think it's his dad. Because I think, his dad got remarried to Kirie. Let me see. Is it in options? No. It's just... Ah, there it is. Yeah, so... his dad remarried this lady. So... I'm thinking what happened is... Yeah, logs. He probably cheated on Battler's mom with her. But then, I don't know, because Battler gets along with her just fine. Like, he doesn't call her mom, but... I don't know. Mayhaps. Even if that weren't the case, I doubt you'd find many people who knew about this island. Only people connected to the Ushiromiya family ever go there. In other words, outsiders and tourists never have any reason to care about it. So you'll never find this island's name in a travel brochure. After all of Rokkenjima is an estate possessed by the Ushiromiya head family. Yeah, they seem chill. Whack. Very confused. But hopefully they'll talk about it soon. Only the Ushiromiya family lives there, and only people connected to the Ushiromiya family come and go to and from there. There's nothing there except a harbor and a mansion. The vast majority of the island is still just uncultivated forest. Such a waste, when it could be made into a nice golf course or something. Bruh. However, when you realize that the entire coastline is a private beach, it starts to sound pretty magnificent. You've probably guessed by now, but to put it simply, well, the Ushiromiya family is just rolling in dough. The head family apparently possesses a vast fortune, and Dad and the others who make up the branch families have built up plenty of wealth for themselves, finding success in their respective businesses. I've been living a commoner's life at my grandparents' home these 6 years, so I'd completely forgotten. But the old man's house really is elegant, and everything about it is tuned to match the snobbish tastes of the annoyingly rich. Aren't all coastlines beaches? That's a good point. I guess the special thing about this one is that it's a personal one, you know? Specifically owned by the family. But yeah. Come to think of it, I guess that makes George, Aniki, Jessica, Maria, and me wealthy, high-class gentlemen and ladies. Needless to say, none of us think of ourselves that way at all. I don't see myself as being rich, and George Aniki, who takes self-discipline very seriously, doesn't let himself get too comfortable. Jessica's always complaining that she'd rather move to the city than be rich, and Maria's still a kid who isn't even interested in money at all. Does that attitude really make us any less snobbish? From the perspective of people in poverty who can't pay the bills, we really have been blessed with a lot. Privilege, indeed. This isn't the place to explain any further, so I won't. Anyway, it's the same as not being able to choose the parents you're born from. I didn't ask to be born into a rich family, and I don't think it's really something to be envied. It can be pretty trying when people are prejudiced against you just because you're rich and refuse to judge you by your merits. As I pondered these sentimental thoughts, Maria started shouting and leaning over the railing.
Gone!
What's wrong, Maria? Did you drop something?
Gone! Gone!
Maria kept yelling, "Gone, gone." Bro is so... I feel like he's trying to sound so, like, smart and dignified, but he's kind of a loser. At first it sounded as though she had dropped something, but while she shouted, she also pointed out over the ocean. What's wrong? What's gone? I'll look for it too if you want. What is it? If she dropped something, she would probably have looked down at the floor, but Maria was pointing out over the ocean. One would assume by that gesture that she had spotted something, but she kept saying that something wasn't there. Strange. He's making Keiichi look like a genius. I mean, he kind of was by the end, no? You gotta give the guy some credit. He may have been really, really stupid in the beginning, but by the end, he was kind of a genius. However, since my last memories of this place came from 6 years ago, I was able to spot it before Aniki, who comes here every year. Huh? If I remember correctly, wasn't there a torii or something on top of a small crag around here? Yeah, he locked in exactly. That's right. It was definitely there. I remember it well, since as we get closer to the island, it's the first thing to greet us, like a landmark. Wow, you're amazing, battler. Even though it's been 6 years, you remembered. It was here, wasn't it? I remember too. The tutelary god's shrine and that torii-like thing were standing all alone on that crag. And now that you mention it, they are gone, aren't they? I'm pretty sure they were still there last year.
Gone! Gone!
Maybe they were washed away by the waves or something. It was a small crag, so it probably got worn away over time. Well, that's my theory too. It was last summer that it disappeared. But they say an enormous lightning bolt came crashing down one evening and smashed the shrine. The fishermen whisper that having a thunderbolt fall upon our honored tutelary god must be a portent of approaching misfortune. Kuwabara, Kuwabara. Kumasawa-san smiled impishly as if teasing us, rubbing her hands together while intoning a Japanese phrase meant to ward off lightning. However, Maria apparently took this seriously, and stared fixedly over the ocean to where the crag housing the shrine god was supposed to be.
A portent of misfortune.
Enough, Kumasawa-san. Maria isn't old enough to get that kind of joke. It's okay, Maria-chan. It's just a coincidence. Nothing scary's gonna happen. George Aniki put a hand on Maria's shoulder to calm her down, but Maria's sharp-eyed expression didn't waver.
Misfortune. Misfortune.
Maria muttered that word over and over. Apparently, repeating a single word over and over is a habit that Maria's had for a long time. However, since the word she was saying was literally an ill omen, it was a bit creepy. Hey now, Maria. If you say it over and over like that, misfortune will really end up happening, you know? I tapped Maria's other shoulder. Maria whipped her head around, stared into my face, and spoke unblinkingly.
Misfortune is coming.
Huh? And just where's it coming from? I answered lightheartedly, trying to break the tension in the air. At that moment, Maria held up a finger, raised her arm high, and pointed up to the heavens. When I looked up, I saw that the sky was still just as cloudy, but it had grown a great deal more leaden than it had been that morning. I don't know, it looks pretty blue to me, but okay. That's right. They were saying that a typhoon was approaching. Hanyu said so. True! We had planned to spend one night on the island, but if this storm doesn't pass quickly, I won't be able to make it to school on Monday. Well, I guess it makes for a pretty good excuse to be absent. She apparently sensed some kind of misfortune in this cloudy sky. She's been muttering that nonstop for a while now. Girls at Maria's age tend to be very impressionable. She's just about the age that many girls start to get excited about sixth senses and whether they have any psychic potential and stuff. For all we know, this might be due to her childish, sensitive nature. Okay, now it's looking gray. It's okay, Maria-chan. The weather might get worse tonight, but tomorrow it'll clear up and become a pretty blue sky.
Pretty blue sky.
That's right. By tomorrow, it'll be a pretty blue sky. There's no rain that doesn't end, and no clouds that never clear.
Rain that doesn't end. Clouds that never clear.
I know the typhoon's coming, but soon it'll go away. It'll be okay, Maria. Maria started yelling, ooh, ooh. It looked as though she was having a tantrum because no one could understand what she was trying to say. What in the world is Maria trying so desperately to warn us about? Unable to understand her, we couldn't help but feel a vague sense of misfortune. I've heard that everyone can feel the supernatural, but that it weakens as you age. That might mean that Maria, the youngest one of us all, still possessed some kind of sense that the rest of us had lost. I wonder if that sense is sending her a warning. At that moment, Kumasawa-san quietly opened her mouth.
Rumor has it that long ago, Rokkenjima was...
Kumasawa-san, let's not talk about that now. Just as Kumasawa-san was about to tell some kind of story, Jessica sharply interrupted her. I'm hoping she stays more like Rika rather than turn into Satoko. Yeah, please. So far, it's looking promising. Jessica's tone was extremely firm for her. I wanted to push her further, just out of simple curiosity, but judging by the look on Jessica's face, whatever Kumasawa-ba-chan was likely to say would probably make Maria even more uneasy. If I did try to press her for the story, the odds were pretty good that it wouldn't be anything bright and cheery.
I do apologize about that. The wind here is hard to bear for the elderly, so if you would excuse me now.
Gossipers have no reason to hang around after they've been told to stop chatting. When Kumasawa-san finally realized that she'd overstepped her bounds, she went back inside the boat. After she left, Uncle Hideyoshi showed up in her place. Since he'd arrived mid-conversation, he completely failed to notice the complicated atmosphere that hung about the scene, so he refreshingly and unwittingly swept that atmosphere aside. So, in the end, it was his lack of tact that brightened the mood. Looks like we're almost there. Okay, just a bit more. Took forever at the speed we went today, didn't it? Wonder whose fault that was. Aw, Uncle Hideyoshi, give me a break already. Come on, don't stop there. Seriously, thanks to Battler here, it's taken forever. Maria probably thought that everyone was refusing to listen to her. She hung her head, wearing a fretful expression. As she did, George Aniki crouched down to meet her eyes and spoke to her kindly. Maria-chan, there's nothing to be afraid of. Because we're all together. There's nothing to be afraid of if we're together. Go ahead and say it.
There's nothing to be afraid of if we're together.
Yes, there's nothing to be afraid of if we're with each other. That's right, exactly what George Aniki said. If we stick together, there'll never be anything at all to be afraid of. Right, Jessica? Yeah, no doubt about that. What George Nissan says is always true, Maria.
George Oni-chan is always true.
Either she or her mom is dying first, calling it now. I can see that, but I feel like they might leave Maria for, like, one of the last ones. 'Cause, you know, What better way to traumatize the child, am I right? Yes, I don't lie. So trust me. There's nothing to be afraid of if we're all together. I don't like how he said that. Like, and the way everyone believes everything he says. I don't know. I do feel like this story is ramping up way faster than Higurashi did. Because in the first couple chapters of Higurashi, oh my gosh, it was so slow. This is very true. It lines up with the times of what the characters would want to be. Yeah. George is sus. He is! I don't trust this guy.
George Oni-chan doesn't lie. I trust you. There's nothing to be afraid of if we're all together. Not afraid.
Maria jumped into George Aniki's arms and hugged him tightly. After Aniki patted her head, she jumped away again. Her facial expression had undergone a 180-degree change, turning back to normal. She was once again the ordinary Maria.
There's nothing to be afraid of anymore, because we're together.
I don't trust him. I don't either. I feel like because they're all together, the disaster's gonna happen. Murder! Yeah, that's it. You look all better now. You're strong, and that's awesome.
I'm awesome.
Hey now, what's going on here? Maria-chan didn't get seasick, did she? Well, something like that. We'll be arriving soon. The harbor was already drawing near. All to make Beatrice smile once more. Exactly. The boat gave a big shudder. Seems we've docked at the harbor. The boat driver came out and jumped to the pier with the mooring rope. A large man in a tuxedo was waiting there for us with a warm smile. I didn't recognize his face, but judging by his clothes, I guessed he was a servant of the Ushinomiya head household. His chin! What a guy. Welcome home, my lady. You were so late in returning that I began to worry. Thanks for caring. This moron got so scared, we had to slow down. It was seriously annoying. Shut up! Someday, when the shoe's on the other foot, you'll remember this. Ugh! At this rate, word'll spread to the whole family, and I'll be the big conversation piece during dinner. Even without this, everyone would be talking about me because of that 6-year gap. And now I've given them an even juicier topic. Handsome Squidward? Exactly. Bro actually just looks like that. Wait, do I? Oh, I have it. This is him. Dang it! Why does the Ushinomiya head family have to live on this isolated island? In the meantime, the boat had finished its mooring. A small plank was lowered so that we could get down. One by one, our parents came up from inside the boat. Must all be quite tired from your long trip. Madam, please allow me to assist you. Thank you. It's been a while, Koda-san. How are you? I thank you for your concern. It's always my pleasure to serve. Battler-kun, isn't this your first time meeting Koda-san? If I'm not mistaken, you weren't working here 6 years ago, right? Indeed. So please allow me to greet him for the first time. It is an honor to meet you, Battler-sama. I'm pretty confident about my height, but you're huge. This is definitely our first meeting. I'd never forget meeting a big guy like you. It's a pleasure. Who runs the house if the grandfather is dead and they only visit once a year? I don't know. Maybe the grandpa isn't dead yet? Question mark? I'm Battler. I was looking forward to meeting you. Oh wait, actually it might be the eldest son. The eldest son might be the one that's, because so far, we haven't met... What is the eldest son's name? Kraus. It might be him. Jessica's parents? I guess because otherwise they'd probably be fighting over money. Well, apparently, Kraus is like the head of the main family, and then everybody else is like branch family members. So Rudolph is like a branch family member, Eva is a branch family member, and so is Rosa. Which makes sense why he's already there. Yeah, I think so. And I think that's why Jessica lives here. I was looking forward to meeting you. I'm Goda, your servant, and I've been working for the Ushinomiya head family since the year before last. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. Okay, wait. we just got info on Goda. Servant Goda, a servant hired as a cook. He hasn't served this family long, but through his earlier jobs and previous experience, he has cultivated a talent for entertaining guests. Because of this, he is very highly regarded as a servant. Okay, so bro's a chef. If there's anything you need, please feel free to rely on me at any time. Goda-san, it's been some time. It has been too long, George-sama. Please allow me to assist you. As usual, you're a pro at welcoming guests. If you ever need a job, just let me know, okay? I'd hire you anytime. You do me too much honor. Please allow me to assist you, Hideyoshi-sama. Goda-san then lent a hand to everyone as they disembarked, greeting them as they passed. His speech and mannerisms had the refined polish of a professional. He was very graceful, in contrast with his initially tough-looking appearance. His large size made him seem a bit scary at first, but he was much more polite than my first impression has led me to believe. He claimed to have served on the island for 2 years, but he had doubtless worked a similar job somewhere before. After everybody disembarked, the mooring rope was untied and the boat started to steer away from the harbor. It was probably returning to its home port on Niijima. The captain waved his hand in farewell. Maria conscientiously waved her hand back. Now that I think about it, that must be why I've felt something out of place for a while now. I can't hear the cries of the seagulls. Seagulls? The birds? If I remember correctly, whenever we came to this island in the past, the seagulls always greeted us with their lively nya nya cries. Because of that, whenever I hear the cries of seagulls anywhere else, I get the feeling that I'm coming to a family conference. Except for the small part of the island where those of the Ushinomiya head family live, Rokkenjima has been left uncultivated, which apparently makes it a paradise for wild birds. Supposedly, there was a cliff somewhere that housed a huge seagull colony, so this island was always full of seagulls. Not having those seagulls here to greet us made me feel a bit lonely. What's wrong, Battler-kun? Oh, Aunt Rosa. Nah, it's nothing really. I was just thinking it's a bit lonely without the cries of the seagulls. My, that's true, now that you mention it. Even though they're always so noisy, today there isn't one to be seen. Are seagulls ocean cats, Umineko? I think so. And I think that's why he said they go nya.
Why no seagulls?
Maybe it's because the seagulls are having a get-together somewhere too. Maria, did you want to see the seagulls?
Wanted to see them.
Do you not like that? Do you not like that they're called ocean cats? Still, it's a bit strange there isn't even a single one around. Maybe Jessica grilled them and ate them. The hell? Don't say disturbing stuff like that. You'll get Maria believing it.
Jessica and Ner-chan grilled them! Jessica and Ner-chan grilled them!
I did not! I did not! Why the hell would I do something like that? No, things are starting to click with foreshadowing like the Higurashi. I know. It's all coming together. That's right, that's right. Jessica grilled them. Skin and meatballs, liver and onion.
Swimming meat dolls!
Huh?
Liver and onion!
As I made fun of Jessica, Maria tagged along, looking like she was having fun. Ooh, I never guessed she was such a good sport. Alrighty then. From today on, I'll make you my #1 follower. As I smiled at her, she beamed, looking overjoyed. Possibly because she was happy about this little connection we'd made with each other. Something is not right with Maria. Absolutely not. That's not it, Maria-chan. I've heard wild birds are attuned to changes in the weather and atmospheric pressure. The weather will probably get worse tonight. The seagulls might have returned to their nests early.
Not grilled? Jessica and Ner-chan didn't grill them?
No! I wouldn't do something like that! Battler, you admit right now that you lied. Battler-kun, Maria-chan is a naive girl, so she takes even jokes seriously. You should choose your jokes more carefully. George Aniki gently scolded me. Even though I outstripped Aniki in height, Aniki was Aniki, of course. There was no choice but to obediently apologize. Sure. My bad. Maria, that was a joke. The seagulls are all taking it easy in their nest today, that's all.
Battler lied? George Oni-chan told the truth?
Had she actually been tricked despite all that fun she was having? Her pure eyes made me feel guilty. Maybe I went a little overboard with her after all. Yeah, that's right. What George Aniki says is true. The weather's bad, so they probably went home for the day. It doesn't mean they're gone. Right, Aunt Rosa? That's right. Tomorrow, when the weather gets better, I'm sure they'll come back so we can hear them cry, meow, meow, like they always do.
Ugh. I'll wait until the weather gets better and they come back. Gonna wait until tomorrow. Gonna wait until the weather's better. Ooh.
Maria was in a lighter mood and was looking forward to tomorrow, when the seagulls would come back and fill the skies. Still, George Aniki was really amazing at taking care of kids. I think I remember Aniki taking good care of me as well when I was a brat 6 years ago. Aniki, that's probably your gift. George-kun is amazing at taking care of young kids. If you wanted to, I bet you'd do great with a job in childcare, don't you think? Don't leave him with kids. I don't know, doesn't feel safe. Yeah, it's almost like George Nissan was born to do something like that. Personally, I think that'd suit you better than doing business in some company president's office. Oh no, childcare is a fine career path, but it's not a job where merely liking children is enough. You're phrasing it weird, don't let bro 6 feet near a kid. That's what I'm saying! Like, why they gotta say it like that? Like, ugh! You really are modest, George-kun. But Battler-kun is quite good with children too. Just a second ago, even though it didn't last long, Maria seemed to be having a lot of fun. Please keep on playing with her like you did just now. Just choose your jokes more carefully, okay? I don't see what's so wrong about saying that Jessica grilled the seagulls. Like, it's weird, but it's not harmful. I guess it does damage Jessica's reputation, but like, eh. Aunt Rosa winked at me, giggling a little. She's a real mother, I thought to myself, who's happy to see Maria having fun. Come on, Rosa. And you brats too. What the hell are you doing? Let's get going. It's better than cousin physical contact, that's what I'm saying. Okay, we're coming. The old man was waving for us to hurry up. Yeah, we needed to get moving. We might as well have this conversation after setting our luggage down in our rooms. Now then, everyone, allow me to lead you to the guest house, where you'll be spending the night. Please, this way. Goda-san called to everyone and led the way. Kumasawa-san brought up the rear. Can we get the tea from the old lady? A serpentine twisting path led through a dim forest. It ran a bit uphill. I'd guess the path was made all twisty so the slope wouldn't seem too steep. But personally, I'd have been happier if they'd had the guts to make some stairs in a straight line. No doubt they made the path twist on purpose, to put on airs of distance and importance. Before long, we saw the garden-style stone steps. From here on, I do have some memories. Go up these and... Satoko trap time! Fall down the mountain. At the top of the stone steps, we saw a beautiful guest house. Its facade was lovely, of course, but more importantly, we couldn't enter its doors without having our hearts stolen away by the splendor of the beautiful rose garden spreading before it. Ah, it's as beautiful as ever this year. A real delight for the eyes. After climbing the stone steps, the people greeted by this rose garden gave voice to their impressions one by one. Is it just me, or are the flowers a little less lively this year? It's probably because it wasn't that hot this summer. I also believe that was a factor. Sadly, this year's blooming is a tad inferior when compared to last year's. Even so, it was a delightful rose garden. I remembered that even 6 years ago, its huge numbers of roses had greeted us every year. This rose garden was the first thing that greeted the people who came to Rokkenjima. Even our parents, who came every year, couldn't help but give voice to their admiration. In fact, it seemed to have undergone a power-up from the garden in my memories of 6 years ago. This place is always so amazing. It would be wonderful to have a rose garden like this at home. Give it up. Who do you think would take care of it? Roses are a real pain, bugs and diseases to worry about. Well, from what I've heard, Kirie-san takes care of her rose every day and makes sure no bugs get anywhere near it, right? Roses represent love. More foreshadowing? Maybe. Beatrice's favorite flower, question mark? Huh? What are you talking about? That's right. Though, in this person's case, the rose goes after the insects like some nasty carnivorous plant. Oh, so that's what you mean. Come on, Rosa. Can't you give that a rest just for today? I put that sort of thing completely behind me. What are they talking about? What does Bro get up to? I wonder. After all, you're a womanizer on an almost genetic level. Oh, I see. He probably did cheat then! No need to worry, Rosa-san. When a rose gives you too much trouble, it's always best to snip it at the root. Oh, such frightening talk this is. Yes, guys who are popular with the ladies are always forced to live dangerously. I sure hope I turn out a bit prettier in my next life. Boo! Exactly. Hideyoshi-Nisan, like I keep saying, it isn't like that at all. And Kirie, stop it. You're freaking me out. You've made my rose wilt. What? Hey, Maria-chan, look over here. These roses are especially magnificent.
Magnificent roses. Ugh.
Smells pretty sweet. Look, this suits my elegance perfectly. Hey, cut it out! Maria's gonna imitate you and get hurt by the thorns! She yelled at me as I leaned in to smell the rose's scent with an exaggerated gesture. I thought she was overreacting, but when I turned around, I saw Maria imitating my every gesture and George Aniki smiling broadly at us. Are they making gross jokes but using roses? I feel like they are! Nasty. Hey now, Maria-chan, be careful. Rose thorns can hurt.
George Oni-chan, only this rose is strange.
Strange? What's wrong? Maria pointed at a single rose. I immediately understood why she found it odd. In the midst of all these magnificent roses, one single rose was just starting to wilt. There wasn't any particular reason. Some roses flourish and others wilt. That's all there was to it. But Maria seemed very concerned about the only unhealthy one in the group. It must have made her feel lonely. So, you feel sad for this rose because it's the only one that isn't healthy?
The others are all healthy, but this one is sad.
Well, they all bloom and wither at their own paces. I'll bet this one's just starting to wilt early because it got to bloom before any of the others. Yeah, that's right. It probably just bloomed like crazy, fulfilled its duty, and went to sleep. You shouldn't get so worked up about it. It seemed that Maria's pure, sensitive nature was making her feel some emotional pain for the rose that wilted alone. Rose got L3. Oh, it's gonna spread! All the roses are gonna die. Even though she understood the logic of it, it still felt lonely to her. Then, Maria-chan, why don't you look after this rose until we leave? George Aniki straightened up and felt around in his pocket. He then took out the wrapper from the candy he'd been sucking on the plane. He twisted it into a thin string, then gently tied it to the rose as a sort of marker. Hey, that's pretty cute. Let's mark it with this. Later on, you could come and give it some water. I'm sure Mr. Rose will be happy.
Come to give it water.
I think you should give Mr. Rose here a name. I'm sure that'll make it happy, and you'll get to know it a little better.
A name? A name.
Though she still wore her usual sullen face, Maria crossed her arms and began to consider this intently. At the very least, she appeared to have been completely pulled out of her slump. Nice going, Aniki. George Nissan has always been really understanding. Can't help but respect him. Yeah, I guess he was just born that way. I could have sworn I heard Umineko just now. Was that not the sound of seagulls? We've got to start picking up tips. Was this garden just as magnificent when you were all kids? It was only after I stopped living here that it grew so big. Before that, the garden was simpler, though I'm still attached to that one. Nissan fiddled with it too much, with that vaguely bad taste of his. I liked it much better before. Eva, you've got to think positive. Setting aside how it used to look, its beauty now is something to be admired. You'll be able to relax a lot better if you look at it that way. I didn't mean it like that. I was just saying that I wanted you to see the garden the way it was before, too. Everyone, if you please, I shall guide you to your rooms now. Gora-san called everyone to ask if we were ready, but our hearts had been completely stolen away by the rose garden that none of us had seen for a year, so we didn't pay much attention to him. Since we weren't a travel group, it wasn't like we had a strict schedule to follow. Besides, since our parents were visiting their old home, full of nostalgia, it wasn't like they had to let themselves be urged on by anyone or anything. Understanding the situation, Gora-san continued to wait, smiling widely, until our parents got tired of the roses and told him to guide us to our rooms. Oh, hey! If it isn't Kanon-kun! It's been so long! How you doing? Uncle Hideyoshi suddenly shouted. In the direction he was waving was a slender boy. Meeting him right after a huge man like Gora probably emphasized his small stature. The boy was in the middle of transporting piled-up gardening tools and the like in a wheelbarrow. When he realized he was being called to stop, he set down the wheelbarrow, took off his hat, and bowed his head. Good afternoon. I figured he was probably younger than me, and I realized by the general atmosphere surrounding him that he was another servant. Yeah, Emo is right. He greeted us in response to Uncle Hideyoshi's call, but he seemed like he might be pretty unsociable most of the time. It was a greeting that lacked feeling. When Gora-san noticed that our interest had shifted towards him, he went to the boy's side and introduced him to us. Battler-sama, allow me to introduce you. This is one of the servants of the Ushiromiya head household. Kanon-san, greet our guests. I'm pleased to meet you. I'm the servant, Kanon. Peeping. Servant Kanon, a young servant. Performs his duties silently and diligently, but is not so highly regarded as a servant due to his unsociable nature. There are multiple other servants with the on character in their pseudonyms. He and Shannon just happened to be the ones on duty that day. That day? Question mark? What day? And multiple other servants with the on character in their pseudonyms. So are these all fake names? Yep, my first impression wasn't wrong. He seemed to be unsociable, or at least not so good at talking. Compared to Gora-san, who was extraordinarily polished as a servant, you couldn't help but feel an inexperience typical of his age. When Gora-san urged him in a whisper to give a bit more of an introduction, the boy named Kanon only cast his eyes downwards. Kanon-san, could you please give him a little more of a greeting? No. Because we are furniture. Okay. He didn't seem to be refusing to greet us out of spite. Rather, he seemed to have fallen silent because he didn't know what else to say to us in greeting. Well, Kanon couldn't shy and doesn't tend to talk much. He might not be that sociable, but deep down, he's a really good person. Don't get him wrong. You've been working here for 3 years, haven't you? Pretty sure you started a year before Gora-san, right? Even though he wasn't exactly giving a terrible first impression, Jessica hurriedly backed him up. I see. Apparently his unsociable nature causes him trouble a lot. Okay then, nice to meet you. I'm Battler. I'm 18. How old are you? He fell silent, as though wondering whether or not it was a question he'd have to answer. But here again, Jessica plowed ahead. If I remember correctly, Canon's 2 years younger than us, so 16, right? Yes, that is correct. It looked like he would have preferred not to tell us his age if given the choice. That was probably because he thought we'd look down on him for it. I remember that when I was around his age, I hated being asked how old I was by adults. Why is he not in school? That's a good question. Why does he think he's furniture? What is going on? Why has he been working since 13? This is child labor. I see. 16, huh? That's gotta be a delicate time. Which means I probably asked something I shouldn't have. I'm glad you're about our age. Just be cool and call me Battler, and I'll call you Canon. Thank you very much. But the sentiment alone is sufficient, Battler-sama. Jessica looked panicky for some reason. She seemed to think that my impression of Canon was getting worse because of his refusal. Well, as a girl, Jessica probably couldn't understand the fretful male heart at this age. As his elder, even by just 2 years, I took it upon myself to be understanding of that. Canon-san, could you please perhaps be a little more courteous? A smiling face is also part of a servant's duty. My apologies. I shall make an effort.
Goda-san, Canon-kun is trying his best, yes?
Excuse me? I know. What? It looked like he was often warned about being unsociable, and apparently he hadn't improved one bit. Goda-san kept his business smile, but let a small sigh of resignation escape. Why does he give the impression of, like, a ninja? Maybe it's the way he's standing, but, like, I don't know, something about him. Well then, I still have work to do. If you'll excuse me. It looked like Canon himself was uncomfortable remaining silent here any longer. Correct? Yeah. After another perfunctory bow, he turned around and started pushing the wheelbarrow again. Fruity ninja, I could see it. Just then, the wheelbarrow suddenly wobbled and fell, scattering the load. Guess the wheelbarrow's single wheel got caught on a pebble and lost its balance. What do you think you're doing? Now, clean it up quickly. Goda-san urged him to hurry in a quiet voice, as though hinting that it was shameful for a servant to appear clumsy in front of guests. Canon-kun wordlessly reloaded the wheelbarrow with the fallen objects, as if to say that he understood quite well without being told. What was that sound? Did I get a tip? No? Huh. He seemed to be fine with the light-looking gardening tools, shovels and... He seemed to be fine with the light-looking gardening tools, shovels and such, but he looked like he was having trouble getting his arms around and lifting up some sacks of fertilizer. Are you okay? You're so careless. Here. Milady, we'll dirty your garments. Please, leave this to us. With a smooth motion, Goda-san took the shovel that Jessica had picked up. Behind him, Canon-kun was having trouble with the sacks of fertilizer. Why is the dialogue so repetitive? I think when I downloaded the patch, they did say that this was like the not polished version of the translation, and that there's a better one for the Switch. But I don't have a Switch emulator, and I bought these on Steam, so I was like, well, I'll just play this one, but mayhaps I will have to consider switching.
Ugh, you'll dirty your garments.
I feel like Higurashi was too. It was, yeah. Don't worry, the ones I'm wearing aren't that expensive. Yeah, it's weird. I guess they, like, redid it for the Switch? I'm not sure. But anyway. Besides, I hate guys who just sit there and make the waitress pick up the fork they dropped at a restaurant. I lifted up the other bags that had fallen. Of course, they weren't light, but for me, it was a piece of cake. Canon-kun looked at me, surprised. It was the face of someone who never would have expected to receive help from a guest. Battler-sama, don't worry about it. I'll take care of everything, so... Don't you worry. I may not look it, but I've got it where it counts. Since Canon-kun looked like he hadn't yet gone through his growth spurt, he was stuck with a sorta weak body. This kind of weight might have been too much for him. It is quite heavy. It's natural that it would be difficult for you. Don't worry about it, Canon-kun. Okay, my time to shine. This makes up for the boat stuff from before, right? Ha! As if this could make up for freaking out like that. Later, I'll tell you all about it too, Canon-kun. Battler was totally hilarious.
Gonna fall! Fall! Ooh, ooh, ooh!
As they did this, I piled all the stuff back into the wheelbarrow. I beg your forgiveness for letting you witness such unsightliness. Come now, that's quite enough. Please, go. Letting the guests, who were supposed to feel welcome, see such a disgraceful thing must have been hideously embarrassing for a servant. Pressed by Goda to hurry up and go, Canon-kun left. You're too harsh on him, Goda-san. Shouldn't you have helped him instead of being a bully? That was wrong with me. I deeply implore your forgiveness. Why is Bro traumatized? What is Goda doing to the servants? Like, Bro was obviously so scared, and he didn't even offer to help. Like, huh? What is going on? Without even a twitch in his smile, Goda-san apologized elegantly. Canon-kun has a ton of things he's good at too. It's just that being young works against him all the time. It's a crying shame. Abuse. I know, right? Well, it is a prickly age. Let's just leave him be. After all, closed-mouthed servants are the best kind. Isn't that right, Kumasawa-san?
Rudolph-sama, you truly are harsh. There's no servant as silent as me, of course.
Everyone smiled wryly at that obvious lie. Even she herself didn't believe that. Not in her wildest dreams. So she must have said it to lighten the mood. Yeah, that's the kind of character Kumasawa-bachan used to be. The once stiff atmosphere had cleared up at once thanks to her cheerful smile. I'd like to set down our luggage soon. Goda-san, what rooms are we all going to take? It'll be the same as the previous year. Allow me to guide you. Please, this way. We headed towards a trim, elegantly simple guest house. It was going to be our temporary quarters for the night. Kanon watched over a hedge as the guests all entered the guest house. Then, he let his eyes fall on those heavy sacks of fertilizer piled up in the wheelbarrow. In his mind, he kept going over his previous mistake. Battler, big and strong, had picked up the sacks in front of him. The sacks Kanon couldn't lift himself, as if they were feathers. It would be extremely difficult for an outside observer to guess what emotions that favor had stirred up in Kanon. But as far as you could tell by watching him hang his head, there was something that he just couldn't let go of. Muttered words escaped his lips. Those words he murmured were so soft that they didn't reach even his own ears. Even I. Big and strong my foot, bro, you steroid! Crazy. Kanon hung his head, slightly biting his lower lip. Does Kanon have a crush on Battler, or is he like, I'm going to kill this guy for helping me? I feel like it could go either way. I remember the Rose Garden, but I don't remember this guest house at all. Was it built recently? Torayan, Visitor's Retreat, was written on a gatepost-like thing. But since everyone called it the guest house, I followed their lead. The brand new Western-style guest house, which stood overlooking the roses, had a magnificent design carefully done in harmony with the garden. Maybe both true. Correct. It was built the year before last. Ever since then, they've had us sleep over here. They don't want you in the main house. They don't want anybody in the main house. This place is more fun than that junky old mansion you knew. I wish my room was over here.
Ugh, I want a room here too. I want one.
I guess you could say my own house was upper class, but to me, it felt completely ordinary compared to the head family. The display of wealth was shocking, as was the fact that they'd built this kind of awesome guest house for guests who came over only a few times a year. Iva-sama, Hideyoshi-sama, Please, do make use of this room. Rudolph-sama, Kirie-sama, please take this room here. I really do love how beautiful and elegant this place is. Western-style architecture truly is wonderful. I can handle Western design for a few days, but any longer than that, you need the good old Japanese look. Japanese people just relax best on tatami mats. They've been fighting over whether to make our new house Japanese style or Western style. Mom still holds a grudge about Dad having the construction started with the Japanese layout, and they bicker all the time about it. I'm really jealous, George Nissan. Your parents get along well, don't they? Mine are so frosty. Then again, they're always in sync when it comes to my grades. All the rooms seemed to be for 2 people. I was grateful, since I wasn't going to be forced to share the same room with the old man, under the pretext that we were family. And anyway, I figured those 2 wouldn't be able to enjoy themselves with someone like me around. What a freak. What's with that creepy smile? You're thinking about something dirty, aren't you? Something dirty? Of course not. Please enjoy your stay. Ow, 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 ow! That hurts, you old man! Once again, Dad pulled my ears from behind. Cut the crap. I'm getting a stomachache, and I'm not in the mood for this. You're the guest of honor this time around, so play as nice as possible with Dad and Aniki and the rest. At the very least, be careful of what you say in front of Dad. Got it? Because wisecracks don't go too well with him. Jessica-chan, what's the head's mood been like lately? I hope he gets eaten alive by seagulls. So true. Same as last year, I guess. Considering they say he's got 3 months left to live, he's as lively, grumpy, and irritable as ever. So the grandfather is alive, yes, apparently. But he's got 3 months, so bro is on a timer. Meaning, this year he's in his usual bad mood. And as usual, the only one who will be able to look after him is Genji-san? It seems the master will open his heart to no one else. Lately, us small people have not even been granted an audience with him. He shut himself up in his study again, probably doing nothing but that weird black magic of his. What he does for a hobby is his own business, but when he starts stinking up the house, it really gets on my nerves. So I guess the doctor's visit was recent? I guess so, yeah. Maybe like right before the airport scene? I wish he'd never come out of that study again. What a horrible thing to say! You shouldn't talk like that about the elderly. We're all indebted to him since he rebuilt the Ushinomiya family. We should be more grateful. Well... sorry. After being rebuked by George Aniki, Jessica had no choice but to take back her thoughtless remark. The Ushinomiya family was wealthy beyond belief, but of course, that meant all its members were a bit strange, and completely out of touch with the world at large. And at the top of the chain, the family head, our grandfather, seemed especially strange and terrifying, even for our family. Dad said he was getting a stomachache earlier, and I imagine that reflected the honest feelings of all the adults here today. Jessica feels a lot like Mion. She does. Like, she is the cross between Mion and Shion, I feel. No doubt they were jealous of us grandchildren, who could just play around and laugh without a care. From the stories Dad told me, the family head was a violent man who ruled with his fists, beating his children, even his daughters, mercilessly with a wooden sword. Huh? If he was so strict and uptight about that, why couldn't he have been a little more conservative with his kids' names? Because of that, even us grandkids have to suffer. Well, low-key battler, you're the only one that has the weird name. Yeah, oh. Anyway, I can't say I have any trouble believing those terrifying stories about him. I don't remember meeting him very often, but I think I recall him looking extremely grumpy all the time, always making people cower with that sharp gaze of his. I remember that the room's atmosphere got so tense whenever he was around, you couldn't even breathe. What my dad said about me being the guest of honor now carries a little more oomph for me. 6 years ago, I was in elementary school, but I'm a high schooler now. If I act up, things could get serious. Ooh, scary! He does look frightening, but he's not so terrifying that you need to tense up like that. Nothing of what he says is truly unreasonable. He may be clumsy at talking, but he's a very logical person.
He beat his kids. What? But, George Nissan, you've been the family darling since like forever because of your awesome grades, right? Grandfather treats us completely different. I've even gotten slapped with a wooden sword.
Oh my gosh!
He hasn't changed! On my butt! My butt! On my maidenly, innocent butt!
Nepotism. Well, you're the heiress of the head family, Jessica-chan. Grandfather is giving you special attention.
Why do they have to say it like that?
Gotta realize that his strictness reflects his high hopes for you.
Oh, come on. Seriously, I could just turn the succession over to you, George Nissan. It's a bit of a heavy burden for me to carry.
This makes George even more sus, though, if he's the favorite to an abuser. That's what I'm saying! Like, it's weird.
And, like, the sprite with the glasses shine is so sus. That implies bad things. That's what I'm saying! This is really weird.
I think I already said it before, but Jessica's the girl heir to the head family. We're only cousins in branch families, so she probably feels a totally different sort of pressure than we do.
Jessica One-chan, is that heavy? If I help hold it, will it get lighter?
Thanks. It's okay. I'm not gonna push it on you, Maria. I'm gonna bear this cross until my grave. Don't worry. Well, if that isn't a if that isn't a red flag or the death flag, then I don't know what is. She was grateful for Maria's innocent concern, but Jessica's face still seemed to contain some of the uneasiness she felt towards the future. Maybe we were in the same boat. Any high schooler with exams approaching would have trouble hiding their anxiety for the future. Maria, come here. You and I will be in this room. Adler-kun, I heard you're going to be with me in this room here. Oh, now there's a surprise. It's bigger than our parents' rooms. Dang! Well, I figured we cousins would all want to hang out together, so I told them to get a bigger room ready.
I like it here more too. I'd rather be here than with Mama.
Oh, you like it better here too, Maria? Okay, this room is George's and mine, but we'll give you special permission to come in. Better keep it a secret from your mom, okay? No, she should tell her mother where she's going.
It's a secret.
Aunt Rosa was right behind us, but Maria still answered, striking the air with her fist clenched tight. After setting down their luggage in their rooms, our parents had gathered again in the corridor. Hey, what are you brats planning to do? Are you cousins just gonna stay here and chat? It seemed they were heading to the mansion to announce their arrival. Normally, they'd make us follow them and greet everyone together. But if that had been the case, Dad would have just told us to come and that'd be the end of it. He's saying it's okay if we don't come, so what'll we do? Well, it's gonna be lunchtime before long anyway. Better let the kids unwind here. Besides, if worse comes to worse, this might be their last chance to play outdoors.
I'll go too.
Maria, you house sit for Mama, okay? Behave yourself and wait here. Since Maria was being told to house sit here, we certainly couldn't leave her on her own. George Aniki noticed this and immediately gave a clear reply for all of us cousins. Well then, we'll accept your offer and house sit. We've got lots of stories to tell each other after being away for a year. That sounds wonderful. And Badler-kun has 6 years' worth of stories to tell, doesn't he? Yeah. I'll take care of the house like a good boy. Kumasawa-san, I'm gonna stay here too. We'll break rank and leave the rest to the adults.
Perhaps that would be best. I'll report it to Madam.
Allow me to guide you all to the mansion. This way, please. The other children are one thing, but George is getting to be an adult. Wouldn't it be better if he came with us? If we made him come, then poor George would be the only one out of place. Interacting with his cousins is also important. Okay, see y'all later. The adults left one after the other.
They left in the same formation as our trip from the harbor, with Goro-san leading and Kumasawa-san taking up the rear. As we gathered in the room assigned to us cousins, George Aniki asked us to excuse him for a second. He rushed over to Kumasawa-san, who was following behind the disappearing adults, and seemed to ask her something. Sus. He soon finished his business and came back. What's up, Aniki? Nothing. I just wanted to ask her something.
Ooh, tell me too. Tell me too.
What could George Nissan be asking Kumasawa-san and not me, I wonder? I don't have a clue. No, it's a misunderstanding. Not that I know what you're misunderstanding. Aniki was getting pretty tongue-tied. It was almost as though he felt guilty about something, and Jessica knew exactly what he was worried about. Sus! At any rate, it's no fun if Jessica gets to know about it and not me. Hey, Maria, looks like we're the only two out of the loop, right? Don't you want to know what they're talking about?
Ooh, we want to know too. We want to know too.
I fooled around while oohing together with Maria. No, I'm telling you, it's no big deal. Liar! I'm surprised you'd tell such a terrible lie, Aniki. Confess! Maria, you tickle his right side and I'll tickle his left.
Ooh, I've got his right side, Battler's got his left. Ooh.
Wait a second. Wait, you two! Stop! What is with the sparkly sound effect? What is going on? There's still no tips. What the? Okay. Maria and I played around, chasing George Aniki as he tried to escape, rolling on the bed. I realize high schoolers aren't supposed to bounce around like kittens, but I still miss this kind of fun. A warm, cozy kind of fun. George Nissan, what were you asking Kumasawa-san? Well, I've got a good guess. It's been a year since the last time he visited the head family. Who knows what servants might have come and gone during that time? Either way, it looks like he'd like to go and say hi. It's so dramatic, I know, right?
Say hi. I want to say hi too.
What the hell? That's nothing to feel guilty about, Aniki. I'm not buying it. Maria, don't be fooled. Aniki's still hiding something. More torture! Yeah! Stop it! Seriously! Maria-chan, you too! Stop already! She's probably busy cleaning or getting lunch ready. Don't worry, she'll drop by to say hi sooner or later. I bet you'd rather be welcomed in by Shannon instead of that nosy Goda. Shannon. Ah, yeah, I remember a girl with that name. Is she still a servant? How's she doing? I feel like bro's gonna snap with the tickling. He's gonna kill somebody. By the way, Natsuhine-san, how's your headache been lately? It seemed pretty serious before. Oh. I've been much better lately. Thank you for your concern. Oh, right. Here. A present for you, Natsuhine-san. Thank you very much. I'm always receiving gifts from you. Is this black tea? It's herb tea with peppermint and lemon balm. It's a blend from a well-known store, and it's supposed to be good for headaches. I thought it might help you, too. Rosa was always a conscientious woman, probably because she was the youngest of 4, and much younger than the other 3. Whomst, I think this is Jessica's mom. She managed to grow up without gaining the venomous nature of her siblings. Her kind words got Natsuhi to often soften her expression for just a moment, but it wasn't enough to melt her stony gaze, hardened as it was by long years of mental stress. Come to think of it, you're always complaining about those headaches. Pull yourself together. Jessica-chan has her exams this year, right? That's going to be a turning point in her life. Will she really be able to rely on you as a mother if you're like that? Besides, Natsuhine-san, you're 3 years younger than me. You should get your act together. I apologize. I've had a tendency for headaches all my life. Even under normal circumstances, Eva sometimes failed to choose her words carefully. But her comments aimed at Natsuhi contained shards of obvious malice, though she hid it with a smile. Ew! Of course, that fact didn't escape Natsuhi. She frantically contained her urge to grimace and pretended to ignore Eva. Our battler-kun will have his exams this year too. Rudolph-san, shouldn't you be a little concerned as well? Like, I get sibling banter, but this is all just abusive. I know, they're like awful to each other. For the sake of your own son, you'd better get serious to the point of having headaches like Natsuhine-san. If I say anything, he automatically rebels. So what should I say? Should I say the opposite? That it's okay for him to mess around? That's probably the only way I could get him to listen to me. Hideyoshi-ni-san, George did really well on his exams, right? Please, you gotta teach me the trick to handling children. Well, it's probably because I got him to understand why he should study. Study isn't worth anything on its own. That's right. The real point of studying is to practice researching stuff on your own whenever you bump into something you don't know. If you can't do that, you can't be useful to society. I'm not talking about math or writing. You gotta learn how to learn. That's splendid. I wish our Jessica could understand that as well. If she's to be the heiress of the Ushinomiya family, then at this rate... Do you really have to force her into becoming the successor? After all, a woman has to find a woman's happiness. Parents shouldn't force such things on their children, don't you think? Hold your horses, Eva. Each family has its own way of raising their kids. You shouldn't be pushy. I'm sorry. Natsuhine-san, don't take it the wrong way. Though the light shining in through the window was quite warm despite the cloudy weather, there was a dark mood about the room, which was probably causing headaches for more than just Natsuhi. As if to sweep away the mood, Kirie brightly made a suggestion to all present. Still, this black tea has a really lovely aroma. Let's drink it right away. In Japan, surely you couldn't find something like Leopold's black tea anywhere but in Ginza, right? I see you know a lot about it, Kirie-ne-san. I guess it was worth going to the trouble of buying it. Kirie and Rosa stood up from their seats and made as if to prepare the black tea, but Natsuhi forestalled them. I thank you both, but we can try that later. One of our people will soon be coming to bring some tea, so please relax. Leave it for later, you two. Let's enjoy our welcome drink. Rudolph gave a subtle signal with his eyes for them to sit down again. Kirie and Rosa understood instantly and obediently returned to their seats. The initial greeting of the guests was complete, so it was time for them to be served more tea. It was embarrassing for the host Poison? I know, right? It's kinda sus. It was embarrassing for the host that the tea was late, especially now that the guests were talking about making tea themselves. Natsuhi bit her lower lip, frustrated by the ineptitude of the servants who were late bringing in the tea. Seeing her face, Eva immediately started to giggle. Of course, Shannon had no way of knowing what was taking place in the parlor. She came pushing a serving cart piled with teacups. For no apparent reason, Natsuhi gave her a pained look, and Shannon couldn't help but flinch without knowing what she had done wrong. Excuse me, your tea is ready. Oh, Shannon-chan, it's been a while. You keep getting prettier every time I see you. Oh. Thanks. Save the chatting for after you've set the table. The tea will get cold. I apologize, madam. She apologized like a small frightened animal, bumping against the serving cart, and made a jarring racket as she dropped several teaspoons. Her clumsiness made Natsuhi's expression turn even darker, which made Shannon quail even more. Battler's gonna make comments about her, I can tell already. She's too cute to not. I know, it's gonna be bad. But hey, maybe George will stop him. Come on, Natsuhine-san. There's nothing wrong with her exchanging a few words in greeting. The tea must be plenty cold already, considering how long we've been kept waiting. There's no need to worry. It's not cold yet. Shannon, finished setting the table quickly. I'm sorry, madam. Natsuhi's irritation was obvious by now. The ineptitude that delayed the tea, the clumsiness of the servant. Bruh, I know, this is crazy. Everything pointed to the incompetence of Natsuhi's everyday leadership, making her lose face. As the person in charge of the Ichinomiya head family's kitchen, allowing that clumsiness to be exposed, today of all days, was surely nothing less than total humiliation. Lay off, Natsuhide-san. Don't you think it's a little harsh to bully Shannon-chan when she's trying her best? I'm not bullying anyone. What a nice aroma. May I ask what brand this is? I'm terribly sorry. I'll find out for you later. Kirie was trying to be nice, hoping to cut through the tense mood. However, Shannon had embarrassed herself instead, darkening Natsuhi's face in the room's mood. By this point, Eva was audibly giggling. What's this? Shannon-chan, don't you even know what you're pouring us? Come now, you mustn't serve something so suspicious to guests. We'll need a silver spoon at the very least before we can drink this. I'm sorry. I'll go get one immediately. Didn't pick up on her sibling's bad behavior. Yeah, sure, Natsuhi seems evil. Yeah, I don't know, all of the adults are kinda like... They're kinda sus. Hideyoshi is like the least sus, but that makes him sus, you know what I mean? Shannon-chan, do you know what silver spoons are used for? They have to be silver. Do you know why? No. A teasing smile rose to Eva's face as she stared at Shannon setting the table. By itself, Eva's expression was sweet in an impish sort of way. However, the words being spun from her lips held the keenness of a razor within them. Shannon tried with all her might to avoid Eva's continuing gaze. Realizing that Shannon was hard-pressed for an answer, Rosa gave some timely help. They say that if silver is touched by poison, it darkens. Gin no Sachi, my beloved farm series. Yeah, silver spoon! I guess you've learned something today, Shannon-chan. They were acting as though this tea needed to be tested for poison before it could be drunk. In Natsuhi's eyes, this was an insult both to the tea and to herself for serving it. Rudolph laughed flippantly and patted Eva's shoulder. Silver cutlery wouldn't do anything good for you, Aniki. Just one lick of your poisonous tongue, and even a silver plate would turn pitch black. Since I get to hear that poison tongue every day, I must be poison-proof myself by now. Eva, I don't mind when you use it on me, but you better hold back when talking to people who haven't built up a resistance. My, how cruel. All I did was teach Shannon-chan a little bit about tea, didn't I? Everyone followed the lead set by Hideyoshi's horse laugh and chuckled, though not easily. Only Natsuhi didn't join in, but for the time being, the conversation inside the parlor could now be mistaken for a lively and friendly chat. As Shannon finally finished setting the tea table and tried to leave, Kirie apologized to her in a low voice for not being able to help. Shannon gave a light bow and made a hasty retreat. Shannon cast her eyes downwards as she pushed the cart down the corridor. Anyone seeing the pitiful way she looked might easily conclude that she'd been bullied in some way. Don't be sad. You didn't do anything wrong, Ne-san. You were watching? That is my role. Adam and Eva-sama can go to hell, but the worst coward is that guy. Cannon glared hatefully in the opposite direction of the parlor. What? The preparations for the tea had been delayed by some trifling problems in the kitchen. These problems were not Shannon's fault. In fact, it had been Goda's mistake. After all, there was no way a show-off like Goda wouldn't give up a flashy job like bringing in tea when the guests arrived. He'd ended up wasting time preparing the tea once again. So, when he realized he wouldn't be able to score any points for this job, he pushed the task of setting the table on Shannon, who happened to be passing by. You might call it a clever move on his part, but there could be no doubt that it was a cowardly one. So Goda is evil. It's okay, Canon-kun. Thanks. I'm not bothered by it at all. Cannon's silence vividly expressed the distance between Shannon's words and how she actually felt. Thank you. Even if you're the only one who understands, I feel a bit better. You keep your feelings too bottled up, Ne-san. You should be less hard on yourself for once. Yeah, thanks. Suddenly, they both felt someone's presence and whirled around. A middle-aged man stood there. It was Genji, the head servant. What are you doing there? Shannon, hurry back to the kitchen. Yes, if you'll excuse me. Shannon humbly obeyed and promptly made to push the cart and leave. However, Cannon appealed to Genji in silence, bearing something in his eyes that he couldn't express in words. What is it? Did something happen? Shannon didn't do anything wrong. But even so, they... Stop it, Cannon-kun. Please excuse me. I'll return to work immediately. Cannon-kun, you should hurry back to your position, to your post, too. Please. If you say so, Ne-san. That is all, then go. Yes, if you'll excuse me. From the shadows in the hallway, an old woman wearing an apron watched over them. It was Kumasawa. Poor Shannon-san. Kanon-san. There's no reason for those two to be picked on. Still, Goda-san's dislike for them is an undeniable fact. Until Goda-san was taken by the Ushinomiya head family, I hear he worked for a fabulous hotel somewhere. The manner of work he learned there was quite impressive, I believe. It's just that Goda-san is the newest servant here. He must have a lot of pride accumulated from his previous positions. Because Shannon-san and Kanon-kun are his seniors here at the mansion, and yet are inexperienced and have gone through much less in life than he has, he picks on them at every chance he gets. And also, sad as it may be, they are disliked by Madame Natsuhi, too. Of course, if we're talking about experience, the madam has been in this family much longer. And yet, this is one point where I cannot help but sympathize with the madam as well. Truly, the master is a man with many sins on his conscience. Why didn't he realize that such a trifling whim of his would give the madam such an inferiority complex? Of course, on the inside, even the madam is fully aware that those two don't deserve to be treated so harshly. Are they illegitimate children? However, the heart has reasons that reason knows not. I feel so sorry for them. I can't do anything but watch over them from the shadows. What the? It makes sense, right? Young child labor, that's what I mean! Also, who is Chio? We still have nothing on Shannon. Do we only get stuff after Battler meets them? I've learned so much and also nothing at all. Just questions, man. This is so crazy. Yeah, I think we're gonna save here for today, though. My voice is so gone. But oh my gosh, this is so crazy. There's so much, and yet so little. I'm invested, though. I'm very invested. Yeah, don't die. Yeah, I'll try my best.